So Sheila, what are the questions or the information the adoptive parents need to ask or know before they decide to adopt a child?
Well, usually as part of standard procedure, prospective adoptive parents are sent information on some basic health assessments of the child, and these would pertain to nutritional status, whether the child is malnourished or not, etc., some physical indicators, also HIV and hepatitis tests, hearing and vision tests. So, they're testing sensory abilities of the child. So some of this information is more easily available because these are standard. The immunization status of the child would be another. And what we have seen are also forms that talk about developmental indicators and assessments of the child. But these tend to be, in our experience, fairly basic, in terms of what the abilities of the child are in 5 key domains, that is physical and locomotor development, speech and language, emotional, cognitive and social development. Ideally these should be very detailed assessments of a child, So for example, a 6-month-old baby would be assessed for visual tracking or neck control or ability to sit up. A 12-month-old should be assessed for, whether the child can walk and so on. And when we talk about social and cognitive indicators, it's about a child's ability to recognize objects, recognize people, emotional abilities to do with the child's responses to soothing, whether this is a child who continuously cries or is able to be soothed. There are a whole bunch of indicators. Again, the idea of doing these developmental assessments are not to disqualify a given child. It's not meant to be used in a way as to say that, the child's development is not up to mark, so this child should not be adopted. That really isn't the point. It is basically to understand very thoroughly a child's developmental status, so that the prospective adoptive parents then know what a given child
will
require from them, and were they to decide to go ahead, what are things we need to do for this child in terms of stimulation or speech therapy or additional supports that this child may require because of certain developmental deficits. Or it's also if a parent decides that, there are a lot of developmental issues, I'm not sure I have the capacity to be able to respond to them, or we may not have the access and wherewithal for special services that a child may need. That could be a reason why parents decide not to go ahead with this. That is why it is well within a prospective adoptive parent's right to ask for detailed developmental assessments at the time of adoption. You can ask a pediatrician to do this assessment, or a psychologist or psychiatrist, that is mental health professionals, also do these kind of assessments. Another way, and many parents have done this, is they have gone with the basic report that is given to them by the institution or agency and decided thereafter to have more detailed assessments done. So if a developmental assessment is not done in depth at the time of adoption or pre-adoption, it would be most advisable to have it done immediately after the adoption, because sometimes parents have access to the child as well as to services and are better able to enable or facilitate these assessments at that stage. That's fine too. But either way, these are the kinds of information that adoptive parents need to be equipped with.